This next one, I have the hardest time sharing. I've never actually read it aloud to anyone before, and I edit and word yeah. A few of these this is their debut to people, but this one's probably the hardest one to say, so I'm just gonna honor it for what it is. It's called Crop. My grandmothers sang in the master's tongue. For their own were beaten into forgetting. Songs of kingdom come, songs of rhythm for picking, songs to endure the soreness and shame of being something less than human. My grandfathers spent their days bent over fields, robbed of all decency and dignity until rent flesh and inhuman cruelty finally overtook their clinging to the miserable shadow that was called their lives. Slavery was obvious then. Some would say it has long since been transcended, like racism. That we now understand that all humans are equal. But some Orwellian axioms are taken as scripture by the profiteers. And those more equal make the rules. There is no way I should be able to buy a pair of jeans or a pound of corn for a handful of change. My cells remember the agony of picking cotton. My lungs, the ache of its toxic fibers, how it sticks to the hands, cutting them in 1,000 tiny ways that never fully heal. Today, a 13-year-old girl is bent over a sewing machine in India with that same cotton, unable to leave, praying for the better life she was promised. A tired old man is bent over the dirt in Mexico, picking fruit he will never eat for a restaurant he will never see in a country that would only ever call him illegal. All for the hope that his children will be free of the poverty that seems as endless and vast as the monocropped fields before him. A 6-year-old boy in the Ivory Coast is dragging 100-pound bags and using a machete to open a pod he has to hold in his bare hands, hoping he will work quickly enough to avoid another beating, resenting the very thought of the chocolate he will never taste. But heaven forbid Levi's go up a few dollars, or we pay the real cost of growing real food, or we give up our fancy gadgets and fast lifestyles so that factory workers can keep their hands and indigenous people can keep their lands and their freedom. Slavery lives on. Our most tenacious addiction. Inherited affliction made of mistaking power for value and difference for distance. How we convince ourselves generation after generation that we are powerless to change the system that gives us just enough to keep us on our knees. The master that has no face but many, who whips us with the threat of poverty until there is no fight left and we pass a prison to our children in this so-called land of the free. Looking through the ages, we see slavery, too, is an inside job. Perpetrated on ourselves, on each other, on the mother, passing along our debts and our pain until there is nothing left but miles of chains and the world we have built on other people's backs. But the things we call each other are ideas created in the monstrous minds of oppressors who are already oppressed. There is no prosperity for one unless there is prosperity for all. It's time for a new song to compost this strange fruit, this strange and bitter crop. The responsibility of the information age is that now is when we can make it stop. Thanks for letting that one come through.